Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the final technical kind of week for Battle of the Booktubers. This is going to be Booktuber 4, the last Booktuber to officially give me recommendations. There will be a couple bonus videos. There will be one more week of the bonus round, if you will, so stay tuned for that. But welcome to Battle of the Booktubers. This is a competition that a few of us booktubers are recommending books to one another to see who is the best of the best, and I am very excited to get to these picks. Booktuber 4, I think, is probably Kirsten. She loves T. Kingfisher, and that's like kind of the giveaway. But I will be reading one fantasy and one horror, as mentioned previously. I think you can figure out the author. And I am anxious about these two. These are probably like the least two that I would assume to pick up for myself. And I understand why they were chosen, but I am hesitant about them for sure. So, welcome to this video. Welcome to the vlog. Let's jump into it. Alright, hello. One, my cat is attempting to attack my mic. Don't do it. Hi, how are we? I need to chat with you guys a little bit about Chlorine by Jade Song. It's a really popular book, and so I'm hoping it'll get better. But right off the bat, I'm just listening to the audiobook. Thank goodness I haven't spent money, and thank goodness this is short. I don't think I like the writing style. We're following our main character, Ren, and this is a coming-of-age high school girl who is trying to find, identity, and she wants to be a swimmer, and there's so many trigger warnings in this book that I'm in an okay place to handle, but if I wasn't in an okay place, this would probably be, close to my line. It hasn't been, super descriptive yet, and, nothing too crazy. It's been surface-level things, but still important topics that I do think younger readers should be reading and talking about, but I don't think this is the right one. I don't think it's talking about it enough in a way that's going to help somebody. But it is relatable. It's a coming of age, it's queer characters, it's girls swimming, it's talking about their inappropriate relationships with their coach, a difficult relationship with her mom, and her mom is Chinese, so she's Chinese American, and so she's dealing with racism and microaggressions and a lot of things. Just so many things. It's an uncomfortable read, and it feels almost like it's gonna be a weird lit fic. Nothing has happened. It has just been a story. It's really just been a girl who is obsessed with the idea of being a mermaid and believes she's a mermaid and takes it to a level of obsession and joins a swim team. It's all about high school. It's gross in ways that I don't want it to be about children, and I understand why it's talked about because it is very girl coded. It's an experience, a lot of experiences that we might have, and so it's not wrong for it, but at the same time it's not enjoyable to read and listen about. But yeah, I don't know. The character is insufferable. She's very unlikable. I think a lot of people have issues with that. I don't need a character to be likable to enjoy a book. I just need something to grasp onto. And for this, it's writing style I don't really like. I don't really love. Nothing is happening, so there's just no plot to cling on to. I'm not interested in what's happening. I honestly feel pretty bored. And the only parts that I'm kind of interested in is this epistolary letter format coming from her best friend Kathy. And Kathy is just kind of obsessed with Ren, and not in a good way. I thought this was gonna have a nicer sapphic relationship. I don't know why I thought that, because that's so far from what this is. But I don't know, it's not what I expected it to be, and I'm not loving it. I'm not a mermaid girl to begin with, so maybe that's a part of it, but there's just something that's not working for me. And I feel bad about that, because, obviously, this was on my radar. So many people I follow and am friends with on Goodreads have given this 4 stars and absolutely love and adore it. It's one that I was a little bit, hesitant about just based off, what I heard. I'm interested in the body horror, but it feels like it's headed into a specific direction, and I don't know if it's going to subvert my expectations at all, if there's going to be, a twist or a reveal, or if it's just going to be literary weird girl fic with some body horror, because that's kind of what it feels like, and that I'm not loving. So yeah, I don't know. This one's not working for me, but I also don't know if like I'm in my weird lit girl era, because I also recently read Ripe and that just like didn't work for me either. I was just kind of bored with it. So maybe it's a me problem, but yeah, I don't yeah, that's all I have to say for now. I'm going to finish it. It's pretty short. I'm listening to the audiobook at 3 times speed. So it's not something that is going to take me too much longer. I think it's like 3 hours total for me. It's a shorter book. It's like probably less than 300 pages. I think maybe if this was shorter and we weren't meandering so much with this girl and her experience, like if you want a coming of age story focused on the high school experience, this will be probably great for you. Again, a lot of people like this, so I feel like I'm in the minority here, but if you enjoy like a coming of age story focused on like a high school experience, then this might be right up your alley. But for me, I've lived it. I don't need it anymore, you know? I was gonna say something and now I forgot what I was trying to say because I went on a tangent and now I don't remember, but it's fine. You probably don't need to know anyway. So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I will check in with you guys when I finish it, but there's not a lot of hope right now, which is really unfortunate. Oh no. I'm so upset. I'm so bummed. Reading sucks. Well, friends, I've finished Chlorine. And I hate to say it, but no, not for me. This was badly written, in my humble opinion. Who am I? It just felt choppy. It could have been the narrator, but I preferred the letters written by Kathy than the actual moments that we spent with Ren. Everything felt so choppy, short, to the point, but like not flowery like most weird girl lit tends to be, and that wasn't working for me. I was having a near impossible time visualizing anything for this entire book, and for the amount of times that we spend at pool meets, I would rather just reread Deep End. Like, Allie Hazelwood gave me enough pool time in that like I would just read that if that's what I was wanting. I don't really care to read about pools and swimming, and as much as I do like swimming, I too was a swimmer for, not professionally, but like I too like to swim and used to a lot more as a kid. But that was like more my cousin's thing. She was a like professional-ish swimmer, but I don't care enough to listen about it, and it's mostly just disturbing rather than horror. Like, it's real life horror. Like, ooh, predators in the wild and sexual assault and like eating disorders, and like, ooh, it's so fun and quirky to be a girl in this society. And that's just like not the horror that I wanted from this. I was expecting way more body horror, a lot more weird, honestly, and just like, I don't know, a more fun time. And that wasn't this. And that's maybe my bad for the expectations being off, but it didn't work for me. I did not enjoy this. It's so melodramatic, but it's very much a coming of age story, but I just could not connect to anything, even though it's a relatable experience. Like, I could relate to quite a few things that she had gone through in her high school experience. Like, yeah, I also had an eating disorder. Yeah, I've also been sexually assaulted. Like, we've all had some type of experience in high school, because high school often sucks for one reason or another. I'm sure plenty of people have dealt with racism and microaggression, and it just didn't make this a new story. It wasn't anything I hadn't heard before. It was a strange sense of young adult coming of age, but also like for adults, which means the moments where sex is happening, I was like, I don't need to be here for this though. This being for young adults and like recommending it to young adults, but also like with also caution and care, because it does touch on a lot of things, but it's never like too descriptive or graphic. So I do think young adult readers can handle this, but I didn't like it for my adult experience. It just didn't. I'm so upset that I didn't like it. I think that's my issue, is that I really thought I was gonna like this. I really wanted to. I was so excited for like weird mermaid sapphic horror, and it just wasn't that. just wasn't that. I think my biggest issue with the entire book is that there were no stakes or tension, and I didn't feel like this book trusted the reader. It felt so like silver platter, here's what I'm going to tell you about. Be super on the nose all the time. I'm going to nail it into the coffin. Like, you're going to know what this book is saying the whole time. And I really struggle with this as a concept, going back and forth of like, I love when books are obvious because sometimes my brain isn't working and sometimes I can't really like take it all in. But then I read books like this where I'm like, hey, could we like, I don't know, not be so straight and narrow with it? Like, can we try to be more descriptive? And I don't know. I'm bummed. I'm gonna give this 2 stars. Which is so surprising. This has primarily 4-star ratings and then 3 stars. So I don't think I'm like completely out of nowhere left field giving it 2. But I'm just bummed that it's only 2, you know? Like, I really wanted to like this. I really wanted to love it. But alas, I did not. So that is my review of Chlorine. I'm gonna move on to the next thing, and hopefully that goes way better for me. Because I just did not, yeah, I don't know. I never really want to read the word chlorine again either. It was said so many freaking times. Okay. Bye! Hello. I wanted to check in because I finally started A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. Now, there's like a few things that we could talk about. This hits a lot of boxes for things that I should like, but also takes off a lot of boxes for things I don't like. So this is a really good book, I think, to explain my taste in books a little bit, writing style wise, character wise, etc. First, starting with A Sorceress Comes to Call. What is this about? This is following a young 14-year-old Cordelia and her mother Evangeline. They're pretty poor, but Evangeline seems to be a little bit of a sorceress. She seems a little magical, but is on the hunt for a new suitor. And that leads us to the Squire Samuel, who is sibling brother to the old lady perspective that we get in this book, Hector. And she's a lovely 51-year-old woman who is like so against her brother getting married to anybody, and so she's going to get in the way however it is needed. And so that's kind of like our competing forces. We've got Hector, who's like, can't let this happen to my brother. I also care for this child Cordelia, who seems frightened all the time, so she kind of like tries to take her under her wing. And Evangeline is obviously the big bad, if you will, but is also, you know, magical. This is a retelling of The Goose Girl, which I was not familiar with. I did read like a summary of the story just so I had an idea. But this is giving more Ella Enchanted, but if Ella was daughter to the stepmother, but like same obedient powers because her mom's sorceress kind of controls her a little bit, but has like that Ella Enchanted like forced to do things you don't want to do, just like struggling as coming into yourself as an adult. But also like it was just like as if it was the mom who's like, we got to get wed so that we can be rich, but also Ella Enchanted. Just, I don't know. The earlier vibes were very much giving. And I will now preface that T. Kingfisher and I aren't really close friends. I really enjoyed What Moves the Dead, which is a retelling of Edgar Allan Poe. So maybe retellings are better for me when it comes to T. Kingfisher's style. But I enjoyed What Moves the Dead. I did not enjoy Hollow Places. The humor in that did not work for me whatsoever. So if there's T. Kingfisher humor in her books, it's not really for me. And then I read Nettle and Bone. Couldn't tell you a thing about it. It was just a very fine mid story. I don't know if I typically like T. Kingfisher's fantasy books. They are very whimsical, very fairy tale, which is normally a check. Yes, something I would like. And I really enjoy retellings, but there's just something about T. Kingfisher that I don't always love. So this one is going well, luckily, but not like so well. Like I definitely feel like I'm reading a book and I'm not getting swept away into the story or like obsessed with anything. It's very slow. It's very like Bridgerton era where, you know, you live in a manor that's been in your family for generations and you're wealthy and you have house parties and you just kind of get waited on hand and foot by the servants and you just have nice dinners and you're just, you know, living beyond your means, but not a whole lot is really going on. There's not like a lot of plot happening. We're not seeing a lot of magic or anything. It is just getting to know Cordelia and Cordelia wanting to like help everybody, but also being obedient to her mother and just like the struggles that she's going through. She's very self-aware of every social interaction she could have, and that is relatable, girl. So I do like a lot of portions of this. My biggest complaint, and this is with many books, not just T. Kingfisher, but like many books, I do not like head hopping. I do not like having a chapter, and then we have a little like chapter break, and then we switch to a different character's perspective. It really messes with my head. I was reading along while listening to the audiobook, so I was able to stay focused a little bit more and like keep everybody straight in my mind. They don't sound that different. Like, they're obviously going through very different things and have different knowledge, so it's easy to tell them apart in that sense. But like the writing style, because it's third person, it's just somebody telling me a story. Like, it's almost omniscient, but not quite, because they're only letting us know about Cordelia and Hector's thoughts. So, I don't know. It's not my favorite, but for the longest time, it wasn't until I was driving home where I went, oh, wait, I should check the narrators. There are 2 narrators, but if you had told me there was just one, I probably would have believed you. They sound different enough, if you're paying enough attention. They sound different enough. Cordelia definitely sounds younger than Hector, but if you told me that this was just a good voice actor and they were the same person, I would also believe you. And that's making it a little bit hard to help with the head hopping. Like, once we switch perspectives, hard to keep track of like who's who. But as I'm reading along, I'm not finding it to be too big of an issue. I'm really having to like focus on the audiobook, which is not a critique. I should be doing that. This is for a like competition. I need to be giving this my all. I will be honest that I was very skeptical going into this, because I'm not like a big T. Kingfisher fan to begin with, and every time I've tried her stuff, it's been fine for the most part. I was incredibly hesitant getting this selection and picking it. I feel like I'm definitely an outsider and like not the biggest Kingfisher hype, you know? And now I can't say Kingfisher and not think of Quicksilver. I'm corrupted. But I will say that I am trying to give this my all and go into it as if I'm not too critical or overly familiar with this author, and to like try to have a good time. And I think I am having a fine time. I really like how everybody cares for Cordelia, and I like how Cordelia is just trying to figure herself out as coming of age of expectations and stress from her mother, but also having new adult figures in her life that care for her and want to see her do well and just help her out. I do think it's very sweet. I can definitely see a lot of like the Goose Girl influences. This is Falada, which the back of this, I believe, Illumicrate special edition does intrigue me, and I don't want to read it in case it's like a spoiler or whatnot, but it definitely has that like whimsical, fantastical, fairy tale style that is nice. It is pleasant. I will be honest, I'm a third in to this already. I have roughly like 2 hours left, 35% in. It feels long. I think that's the downside to something like is it Regency? Ooh, I'm really bad at my timelines. Bridgerton era. The problem with that is because it's so low plot, like we know that Hector is trying to figure out a way to get rid of Evangeline, but we don't know, there's no like clear direction outside of that, and it's like a small conflict where it's like, okay, we could just like communicate. Like, I'm sure telling your brother not to marry somebody might have a negative consequence, but like it seems pretty straightforward and easy to do. And like, I understand having a child influence the decisions because you want to care for this kid and like make sure they're in good hands. I understand that complicates it a little bit, but it's like just chit chat. I don't know. Like, I get it, men can be stubborn, but like, I don't know. I am liking it. I'm not loving it, unfortunately, but it is just, it's going better than I was expecting, but it is slow. And I definitely feel like I'm reading a book and I'm constantly like thinking about like, when's it gonna pick up? When is something gonna happen? When am I gonna get excited? And I don't know if that's the kind of story this is going to be. I don't know if it's a story that excites, you know? But that's my 35% intro. Very long-winded way of saying it's going well. I don't really have anything more to say. I'm in the process of making dinner. I don't know. I did get the ebook from my library so that I could read it whilst out and about. So I might make a little bit more progress in it while we play video games. I'm cooking dinner now, and I'm not really a good cook and listen to audiobooks person. I'm a little too distracted, but I'm gonna make dinner. While we play video games, I might read a little bit more. I might try to read more this evening before bed and such. I would like to make a more significant dent into this, just so I'm in good standing. I will be super frank with y'all. I am the biggest procrastinator. I still have 3 books to read, and the deadline is next week. So, anyways, I gotta get reading and eating. I'm hungry, so goodbye. 50% check-in. Something has finally happened. So I thought, based off the synopsis, when it says like a small town murder happens, so we're like suspicious about the wickedness of the sorceress, whatever. And so I was thinking, like, the murder that happens at the beginning in their small town that they were from, I thought that's what they were talking about. And I'm like, that didn't really feel like a catalyst to launch a plot. Like, nothing really came from that. So I was confused. And now that some time has passed, another murder has happened. Bam, bam, bam. And there's some suspicious circumstances surrounding it, and we're on the hunt to get answers now. Even though you and I, we the reader, know that the sorceress was probably the one at fault. So I don't think that there's going to be like a big shock reveal. I definitely understand that this is a book for the cozy girls, the girls that like stakes, but also you can probably, based on this being a retelling of a fairy tale where good overcomes bad, or the fact of the matter of just like nothing too crazy is happening. Like, yeah, there was a unfortunate incident, but nothing like graphic or super explicit, nothing like really going into detail about anything that's happening. So it has a lot of like safety nets, if you will. So I do understand like this is definitely more for the people who enjoy cozy books, and that's just not really me. We have spent 50% of this book just having dinners and going on horse rides and hanging out in this manor, playing cards and gossiping. And I think that's fine if that's something that you're into, if you're looking for it, if you want a book that has more of that historical feel. This might be great for you. But for me, it is slow and drawn out and a little bit boring. So that's where I'm at. I'm 50% in, so I've made some progress. I would like to finish it today. As you can tell, I just got out of the shower. So I'm going to do some admin tasks while I wait for my hair to dry. I need to film and edit a whole bunch, so I've got plenty to do, but I'm hoping to kind of reward myself. So I'm going to read for an hour, and then I'm either going to edit for an hour or film for an hour or do something else that I need to get off my to-do list, and kind of have my own type of Pomodoro timer situation. An hour of reading off to an hour of a to-do task, back to reading, so on, so forth. So that's kind of my plan. So I will check in with you guys when I have hopefully a lot more to say. I probably won't be checking in every hour. Oh my god, I just noticed the little geese. That's very cute, because it's a Goose Girl retelling. I never really puzzled that together. Anyway, I probably won't check in like every hour that I'm reading, because I just don't think I'm going to have anything different to say. But if that changes, of course, I'll pop in, I'll let you know. But if not, I'll probably see you when I finish the book. Hello, it is later, and I have finished. It happened pretty much how I thought it would. I will say that there was one aspect that is clear in this book that I didn't know exactly like how it was going to play out, but at the end of the day, the story is exactly what you expect it to be. It has its happily ever after. It's got that fairy tale feel. It does what it sets out to do. It's just not necessarily the book for me, and that's not anything against it. It's just, out of the T. Kingfisher books I have read, I would say that this is higher rated than the others. So now I feel like I need to go and tier rank all the T. Kingfisher I've read so that I have a proper idea. But basically, I liked it. I didn't love it. I think it's probably 3.5. I think I preferred this more than Nettle and Bone. And my favorite parts of it were when it got like a little bit horror-y, because I think Kingfisher can write good horror. It's just not always like perfectly aligned with my taste, but it is unsettling and graphic, and I do like that portion of the horror. So I don't think this is bad. I don't have any strong feelings towards it though. I never like connected deeply to the characters, and I think having a more character-driven story where the focus is really on them and their relationships does, hinder the experience a little bit. But I can definitely see the appeal and why so many people love this. I don't know if this is as beloved as some of the other fantasies from this author, but it was just nice. It felt like being told a fairy tale almost, like being told a bedtime story, but just like a little bit more grit and a little bit more of an older audience for it. But I don't know, like, I think that it was a good time. I'm happy that I read it. I have this very nice edition. I don't know, really, I'll probably keep it for now. I don't have any reasons to get rid of it because it is a nice copy, and I didn't dislike the book, so I might as well keep her for now. But I don't think this is a story I plan to revisit. I need to, like, I don't know, I always feel guilty when doing something like Battle of the Booktubers, where you're needing to review the books that are recommended to you, and I feel like I need to give proper explanations as to like why things are the way they are, like show my cop pile to like prove that I'm being honest, which is a little bit silly, but it is one of those, like, I don't want to make anybody feel like I'm not giving everything a shot or being fair. It's silly, but I just, like, it was good, and that's okay. I don't always have strong feelings towards books, and that's also okay. But yeah, it is weird to be like, I need to review things and give like proper reasonings behind it so that I sound like I know what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, I think giving me a T. Kingfisher with my history in this author is honestly quite a risk and gamble, but I think it paid off because I did not hate this. It wasn't quite, The Hollow Place is bad. It wasn't as boring as Nettle and Bone. I think because I was able to physically read along for at least the first half, I kind of stopped reading along because I just had that constant, like, when's it gonna end? Like, when's it gonna be over? Like, when can I continue on with this project with my life? Whatever. And so I officially stopped reading along because I wasn't really allowing it to do what it needs to do. So I just listened to the audiobook and I worked on a little bit of an art project, and I think that did help with the ending because I was at least able to focus on what they were saying and not like waiting for it to end, waiting to move on, waiting to do something else. Like, it is hard to sit down and read a book when like you have a to-do list constantly on your mind, but alas. Yeah, I'm happy that I finished it today like I had planned. I'm glad that I was able to get it done in time. I will now be editing for a while, so that's my big evening plans. But that, I believe, wraps out this vlog. That's the last book. The first book we read in this vlog was Chlorine, which was, yikes, in comparison. It certainly was a bit more of a gamble of the vlog out of like other picks that I was given. I feel like I want to say this could be Kirsten because she likes Fisher, and that makes a whole lot of sense to me. She seems like she would give me Chlorine, which is like literary coming of age, mermaid horror, and whimsical fantasy T. Kingfisher. They kind of have some similarities. I feel bad though because this wasn't like a successful vlog. Chlorine was really just not the right book for me, and T. Kingfisher is such a gamble that it's like you nailed it on the head with horror and fantasy, but like the picks themselves were not my favorite and not major wins, which is unfortunate, but I did have fun with them. I was happy to finally read them, especially Chlorine, because everybody loves it, and you know, every once in a while I am a hater, and anything that's like popular or hype just like doesn't always work for me. It's very hit or miss. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I just don't get it. That was one I didn't get. This one wasn't for me, but I at least get it. I understand why people like A Sorceress Comes to Call as much as they do, but it was a fine read, and that's just how it be sometimes. So we've made it to the end. If you made it to the end, leave me a little horse for Philada. If you're participating in the Battle of the Booktubers and you're watching everybody, please, please, please do. But also, if you are, let me know who you think might have recommended these picks, and if I'm horribly wrong. I'm at the point where I truly, like, I think everybody could have recommended all of these books, and I simply apparently don't know these people at all. So I'm so not confident in my guesses, and that's okay. That's it for this vlog. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next Sunday, but stay tuned for Danny's on Tuesday for the next one, and I will see you guys later. Bye!